Welcome everybody, CriticalBlindside here. Today I picked up a game called The Evil Within with some high hopes. It's made by a really big developer. I think you've heard of him. It's a little company called Bethesda, who is responsible for making these. Bethesda also brought in heavy hitter Shinji Mikami, who is the creator of Resident Evil, and also has contributed to Beautiful Joe, Devil May Cry, and a couple other very popular games. So, my hopes were high for this game, and I'm going to show you why a person who loves movies just can't really get into video games like he or she should, because of these glaring problems. And it's apparent in the opening scene, which is, in video games, it's equivalent to a movie in that respect, that your opening scene needs to be the one thing that sets the tone and tries to get the player or person into the universe and really sells the content. And I'm going to break down this opening scene and tell you why video games are so much further behind movies in doing so. And before I get started, just a little preemptive self-defense. I can already hear people saying, well, Blindside, movies are movies, games are games, you cannot compare the two, it's apples to oranges. One, I can compare the two, and I will. Two, I think that comment is complete bullshit. You get cinematic opening scenes like this in games, and you get cinematic scenes all throughout the game that actually break up the gameplay so you can get this chunk of content. In fact, some games are the playingness of the game, and the fact that you're playing this game only serves to add something to do in between these cutscenes. So they're extremely prevalent, and really they do the exact same thing that a movie is doing. They're trying to engross you into the story, they're trying to set tone, they're trying to lay the foundation of the gameplay. And of course you play games to actually play something, but especially in a game like this, where it's a horror game, they really need to sell this atmosphere. The opening scene and all the cinematics are exactly like a movie in that respect. So, without further ado.
All units, 1199, expedite cover code 3, Deacon Mental Hospital.
184 copy, code 3, ETA 3 minutes.
Copy 184.
Sorry, detectives. I know you're just coming off a case, but I'm afraid we're gonna have to make a detour.
Sounds serious. Is it a riot?
A call went out just before I picked you up. Said it was multiple homicides. Half a dozen units already on scene.
131, please advise.
Hey, maybe it's the ghost of that doctor who went schizo and chopped up all those patients.
That's not what happened. Some patients disappeared. Some kind of scandal?
Still, gives you the creeps, doesn't it?
127,
In this opening scene, the only thing that I could say that I like from it is the fact that we're given a lot of information about the universe without actually having to be told. We're in a cop car, we have a police uniform driving, we have people who are not in uniform that are nicely dressed. That leads me to believe that there's some sort of detectives. One is dressed kind of like a detective, so I like that. That's one good thing that I like about this opening scene, is that it doesn't like shove all this information in your face in the beginning. Towards the end it starts to do it. So really my first glaring major problem with this part of the opening scene is the way that the dialogue is handled and the way it's delivered, and mostly the way it's written. So you get some banter back and forth, and the cop that's driving says something about someone going schizo, and instantly it feels inorganic and it feels like it's forced dialogue. And then we have this completely monotone, just boring response that sounds like you typed a sentence into a computer and it spoke from the guy in the back seat. It wasn't like that. It's just, this is the kind of thing that I notice, and that takes me completely out of this opening scene. And like I said before, you may be calling me a nitpicky, asshole about everything, but movies should live up to this standard, or sorry, games should live up to movies' standard, and they just don't. I mean, how hard is it to deliver dialogue? You know what I mean? So, anyway, moving on.
7124, please respond.
Joseph, you think there's a connection?
It's a possibility. I believe the records were sealed.
Yeah, this guy is just bad.
Anyone on scene, respond.
Dispatch, this is Detective Castellanos in 184. What's the situation? Over.
184, be advised. Some problem reaching mountains on the Beacon Memorial.
And this is another major problem I have with video games, and another major problem that also ties in with why I don't like a lot of CG in my movies. You hear the dispatcher get a little staticky to where you can't even really make out what she's saying. And for some reason it's fixating on these two people in the back seat, and what are they doing? They're just looking around, like someone said, oh, what should these characters be doing? Oh, just make them not still. What they should be doing is maybe leaning forward, maybe like turning their ear towards the sound source, maybe like furrowing their brow trying to make out what they're saying, but no, they're just these blank idiots just staring around. And this, to me, is another reason that just takes me completely out. And I know a lot of people will give it a pass. It's only like 2 seconds or something like that. But animate these characters the way that real people would act in that situation. And that's all you have to do is ask yourself, what would I do if the sound source of something I was listening to went to static to where I could barely hear it? Would I just be sitting there looking around? No, you would try to maybe even cup your ear, like, you know, try to do something. So also the cliche of the radio going staticky whenever it was ultimately fine is also another cliche that I hate, but this is not a CinemaSins video. This is a critique of the opening scene, so I could let that pass.
Is there any...
God damn it! Jesus!
Junior Detective Kidman.
Junior Detective Kidman? Are you serious? There has got to be a better way of telling us that this is a new or younger or a gumshoe type of detective or whatever it is. There's got to be a better way than saying Junior Detective. Nobody, it's like the first time he's ever met her and he's looking through her file or something like that, and he's reading from a line. That's what it feels like to me. Nobody talks like this, and again, it's just another universe breaker. It's to me, it just sticks out. There has, like I said before, there's got to be a better way of delivering the fact that she is new to her job, maybe a little green, wet behind the ears, whatever. There's got to be a better way of doing it than just saying Junior Detective. It just sounds awful.
Any thoughts?
Nothing yet. I'm sure we'll know everything once we get there.
What do you make of it?
Expecting someone to know what to make of it the first 5 seconds you step out of a car. Yeah, really beginning to not like this guy.
Connolly, contact dispatch and let them know what's happening. Joseph, Kidman, you're with me.
And I realize this may not be valid critique because we might not be able to render it properly, or it requires too much graphical fidelity, or whatever it is, but can we possibly make the hair look wet if it's currently raining on them? Again, I can see the point against me for this, and this is not like my main point. However, I think it's important if it's raining that their hair look wet. Maybe it sticks to their face. Maybe, so, I don't know. And again, this may be just the limitations of the current way we have of rendering water on objects. I know water is extremely hard to render, especially where it looks properly. So they end up using like a trick or something like that. So, bravo for the, drips on the face. I think they look great. But yeah, I mean, can we do something though? I mean, in later scenes, you can see that her shirt is wet, obviously, but why can't we do something with the hair? Anyway.
We're gonna have a look around.
Right.
Smells like blood.
All right, stay sharp. We're gonna check it out. Don't let anyone else through this door.
I can be an extra set of eyes.
We don't know what's happening here. You're a backup.
You can't follow us because you're new and we need to keep you out of this scene cliche. Yeah, I said this wasn't going to be a CinemaSins-like critique, but I've always wanted to use this sound effect.
Are you injured? What happened here?
Can't be real. Impossible. Ruvik is...
I've got him. The security cameras might tell us something.
Yeah, I'm sure the cameras will tell us something. It'll probably tell you exactly what you need to know to enter the building and not be suspicious. I can't stand this type of stuff. And what he does next, what I'm about to show you, is the kind of stuff that if you saw it in a movie, you would absolutely hate it. And you would absolutely say, why is this there? So why are we giving video games a pass? I don't understand it.
What the hell?
And this scene is so mind-bogglingly bad, it's hard to even break down. First, we have a guy who walks over to a set of camera controls, does nothing, he pushes no buttons, he controls nothing, he walks up, and the intended scene in which he needs to see starts playing magically. He doesn't have to reverse through any footage. It's like it was set up on a motion sensor. Whenever he entered that part of the room, it triggered the exact scene he needs. This is the kind of stuff that takes me out of a game or a movie or whatever it may be. How hard would it have been to add a little tiny part of him maybe skimming through something, show the reflection of the screen on his face? You don't even have to animate the stuff they were doing before that. Just show him kind of skimming through some stuff, and then it goes to the scene that he needs, and then there. And speaking of the scene that he needs, it starts out, in grainy video and all that stuff, which if they have a machine who can start a video the moment someone walks up to it, they should get better video. But anyway, of cops firing firing on something, and I don't know what they're firing on because this guy appears out of fucking nowhere. And then he looks like Enzio or Ezio or whatever the guy is from Assassin's Creed, and he starts slicing people up, and he does a look in the camera like he knows someone's going to be watching this and they need to be scary. It's just instantly this dissolves any sort of tension or any sort of anticipation or anything I had to play this game, because now I know I'm going up against something that's completely not real. It's just video game stuff, which I love video game stuff, but the whole point of these really scary survival horror, games is the fact that it needs to be scary. And for me, something that just appears and disappears takes me out of it, and it completely ruins that factor for me. And yes, this may be explained if I actually would play the game more, or if I bothered to do anything but quit. But I instantly saw that and told myself I had to make a video about it just because of how kind of disgusted I was. And this is a major studio who I've already explained to you shouldn't be doing this. And this opening scene is just chock full of things that I look at and I go, why in the world is this in here? So anyway, guys, am I being just a nitpicky asshole about everything? Or do you see what I'm talking about and do you agree? Do you think video games should come up to a higher standard than what they're doing right now? To me, they're treating me as a gamer. They're treating me like I'm an idiot. Like I don't need to see things in proper order. I don't need to have good dialogue. I don't need to have an interesting character. I don't need to have a world that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Let me know, guys. And thanks for watching.